when we last left our intrepid adventurer.
Please let that be Mandark's voice. We found it. We found it, you guys. With elves all the time.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, 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 whoa.
For some reason, I don't know Elvish, and I tell you, that is so weird.
It seems to me that you all have been caught up in an impossible situation. So what we're going to have here is a sort of judgment. As you seem to be so fond of this town and the people in it, if you would like to help defend them, you can stay for the judgment. Or you can simply be on your way.
Okay, I'm willing to do this. We can defend it if we can have a montage of all of us, like, writing notes and, like, throwing things to each other and, like, pointing. Painting walls. Yeah.
But no journal, no montage, so...
Yeah, so if we can get the journal back and we can have a montage of preparing our case, I'm willing to be the defense team for Pterodactyl.
I mean, it's only 1,000 years of racial tension between two groups. How hard can it be to diffuse it in one really well-timed courtroom drama?
You come back down and you notice that the sun is already rising. You've spent all night preparing. If you've prepared your defense, you'll have to follow me.
Aw, damn it.
We have any more oregano?
Well, honey, I look to put it on this pizza, but...
I'm afraid it's oregano.
What?
Let me do it better. It's Oregon. Oh.
Yeah.
That's where you were going, right?
Yep.
So you need a facilitation.
I'm gonna need that in Mandark's voice.
I'm sorry, it's all oregano.
Primo.
All right, I'm liking the Mandark voice.
Okay. Why not?
Okay, so you all got brought into the town of Pterodactyl in custody. All of your weapons and spell ingredients and magical items and wands have been taken. Wiggle sticks.
Boo.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's a hidden wiggle stick somewhere.
And you agreed, the chief was willing to just let you go on your way, but you agreed to put yourselves on the line to defend the village of Pterodactyl in a trial, essentially.
Now let me get this straight. We're going to have a court case? We're going to have a trial? Let that sink in.
Oh, that didn't take long.
Man, you were right.
And you were given time the day before the trial to do some research, talk to people, and try and prepare your case.
I also wrote down Elves Harry Hard Time.
I mean, I remember the gist. You know.
I know that I rolled an 18 on my whatever it was then.
You wrote down your roll? I'm a fucking nerd.
Yeah, because we rolled for montage.
Right, exactly. We did the research montage. Cannon talked to one of the elves and got some background that Pterodactyl was founded on the top
burial ground.
Kind of, on a battlefield. At the top of...
I don't remember that.
One of the most prominent hills in this area of the foothills.
The Hank Hills.
Yeah. That's definitely canon.
Right. Yeah, precisely. The Hank Hills.
The rolling Hank Hills of this area.
Pterodactyl is the most prominent of the Hank Hills.
Yeah.
And it was founded after a battle about 200 years ago where an undefeated elven band was defeated by the first Lacanian army as
What's
they
the name of
spread
the
out.
band?
Band of elves.
Well, they were up until that point undefeated. That was, oh my god.
I'm just saying.
What's their band name? I want to know.
Band of elves.
Future Drug.
Future Drug.
Those guys are glitch as hell.
I was thinking it was Elf Power.
The other things that you all found out, since you all remember it so vividly,
Very vividly.
also that Pterodactyl recently became sort of a protectorate of Lacania, as Lacania is trying to spread its influence to some of the farther out regions.
Oh, God.
And while they've been paying taxes to Lacania, Lacania has been very slow to actually provide them with any assistance when they've needed it. And
Plus, they tend to be pushing the elves out of where they used to live.
Correct.
Where they used to hunt and live, now they're getting less and less.
And this has all happened on the scale of a couple hundred years, which has been several generations for the humans, but only about a generation and a half for the elves. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of elves still alive that remember.
Our angle, then, what we figured out there was our angle was to try to unite Pterodactyl and the elves against the government and overthrow the government.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much
will
where you all
never enter
landed.
into this equation again.
There was a specific bit of information that might become relevant also, that it was the new regional Lacanian governor, who doesn't live in or anywhere near Pterodactyl, but every year or so shows up to collect taxes and push people around a little bit.
Right.
He was the one that demanded that Pterodactyl send out its best masons to fix the bridge in the first place, and when they made a request for support from the Lacanian, they were refused and told to just do it anyway.
Yeah, FEMA showed up like way later.
Yeah.
See what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
It's a commentary. This is art, goddammit.
Is the Lacanian governor of Pterodactyl, is his name anything close to like a Mitch? Maybe a McConnell?
How about Lich? He's
Lich.
just a
He's a
Lich.
Mitch McConnell!
God damn it, he is a Lich. You're welcome.
Yeah, you're not going to get better than that.
Oh, no, Lich
Thanks for coming out,
McConnell is
folks.
absolutely canon.
Please let me kill Lich McConnell. That has to be a boss fight for us.
Y'all are going to have to level up a lot.
Yeah, it's true. He's been in it for a while. Man's probably a wizard.
Oh my god, and he can be a turtle changeling. Who turned himself into a lich.
Lich McConnell
Sold his soul to the Koch brothers.
has blown up his neck sack and is spitting venom at you for 7 damage.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're actually ready.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just never quite believed that this moment would come. Just having to deal with it a little bit.
Moment would come.
So in the morning, you all have not really slept because you've been up, compiling your
thought we had a
evidence
long
and your
rest.
case.
You did say we
were
got
well
one
rested,
rest.
though.
Yeah, you guys have been here now for a total of 2
clearly
days.
didn't take that much time compiling a case.
You guys have been here in town now for about 2 days. Yeah, and you got your rest before you did the legal montage. We get to the end of our montage, and you found out all of your facts and compiled your evidence and your case and coordinated and decided that you're going to band together with the elves to take down the Lacanian government like revolutionaries.
I don't remember doing that, but I'm
Dibs on a sweet beret.
Nice.
You can have the beret.
Oh.
And your tent, your,
We're in a hotel.
there's no way to say it really. You're, oh no, yeah, you were in the inn, weren't you? Sorry.
No, it's a hotel.
The door opens.
It's an embassy suites.
La Quinta.
La Quinta. Lacanian La Quinta.
the pterodactylian.
It is a perfectly modern La Quinta mid-range hotel that stands out like a sore thumb in this very much...
Nobody questions it.
It's a cold continental breakfast, though. I mean, don't let them.
200 people live in this village and there's 340 rooms.
Yeah.
So the door opens and a guard takes you in the tent and up the hill to the...
Grandmother's house we go.
to where the longhouse is.
This is going to be a long
and the
one.
council chambers. And you're led to a large-ish tent that is set up a little ways outside of the hall.
Given cheese sandwiches.
Is a spread including both bread and cheese.
Bread spread.
So, follow your heart.
Right. Oh yeah.
Have sandwiches been invented in this? In this?
We need to know. This is important to you.
I'm very
This is
concerned.
world building.
roll wisdom or history. Religion is acceptable.
Oh, I fucking don't anything.
Gross.
2.
10.
3.
Call it an 11.
None of you have ever heard of a sandwich,
Damn
and
it.
the idea does not immediately strike you either.
Damn, because I was going to get Luke to use his fire magic to grill that shit.
Well, if we put
if you'll take-
cheese between bread,
Yeah, and then fucking...
bread on both sides.
If you'll take survival, I've got a 14 on survival. If you'll take that.
matter.
I rolled a 2. It doesn't matter what happens.
What about
If
medicine?
using
You
the
can
10?
roll survival.
Okay, reroll.
Medicine.
13?
You have sort of an inclination that while bread and cheese, while complementing each other when eaten one at a time, maybe there's something more there, but you're not really quite sure yet.
Can I put cheese just on top of the bread? Maybe
So
not.
you put 2 slices of cheese with a piece of bread between it.
No, that's too advanced. You put the cheese on the bread and you
Well, let me finish describing the tent, and
Oh,
then
like
you
an
can
open
tell me
face?
what you do with the bread and the cheese.
Okay, I mean, this is really important.
Because so far, all we've gotten to is that it's a largish tent with bread and
send me that.
cheese.
Where's the wine? Did I have to bring my own?
It's a terrible zoo.
Your wine was taken from you when you were captive.
No, they gave us wine.
They gave you some,
room.
and it's been the crappy barbarian wine that you got after the one battle that you didn't like very much, but was fine. And there is a skin of that, as well as several cups. There's a table in the middle of the tent, along with 4 chairs for the 4 of you, and 2 more chairs that are occupied. One
Why?
by bad Leroy Brown, the
He's
baddest
the baddest
man in the whole damn town of Pterodactyl.
Wow.
Nice, all right.
And in the other chair is an older woman. She looks to be in her maybe early mid-50s, with long salt and pepper hair.
Is this Elven age or like?
No, she's human.
Yeah, okay.
And
Did we see her the other day?
Mandark, you recognize her as
God.
the woman who gave you the sweater,
I've got
the
that.
dead
cardigan,
child
yeah,
sweater,
yeah.
right? And she was also in the long hall when you were initially brought in yesterday.
What's she doing here?
Stephen, you recognize her as Yael, who was Philip's mother. Philip, the red shirt, who died at the cave fighting the skeletons. And Yael stands up to greet you and says, "Welcome. You all have been chosen to aid in the defense, correct?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
I think so.
Character voice.
Yeah.
Real quick, this wineskin with the cup.
Real quick, the alcohol.
How big is the wineskin? Is it like a standard size of like a 3 bottle or?
Yeah, it's equivalent to like a
Space bag.
It's like a Boda box, you know,
I take the skin.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yael and Leroy already have a little bit in their cups, and they've put water in it too.
Cool.
Watered theirs down.
Good call.
There's also a couple pitchers of water.
I'm gonna get a piece of cheese and I'm gonna pick off little tiny bits of it at a time and eat them like individually,
You fucking mouse.
like pea size, and just like chew it. With
Do you
my,
roll
I'm
them
gonna-
up when you?
Yeah,
put
I'm
them in
gonna
your
roll it
mouth?
up. I'm gonna roll up my finger to the little balls,
And they get warm.
and they get warm, kind of waxy, and then I'm gonna chew it with my front teeth.
You're definitely going to jail for that.
Fate of the town looking great. We are nailing this.
Yael seems unfazed, but Leroy is clearly uncomfortable.
Yes, power move.
Oh, God.
So we roll up. There's some chairs. We're gonna sit in them. One would presume.
Right. Yael says, "Please have a seat. We've been told that we have an hour to discuss our defense before the trial begins."
Oh, dude, we totally got this covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, we figured this shit out last night.
Her eyebrows go up. She says, "That's wonderful. What's your plan?"
Well, it's a Lacanian. Lacanian?
What?
Laconic. What is the city again? The one we don't like?
I'm
I'm asking this in the real. In my character is asking too.
What's Ulrich's character voice?
Lycian.
Lycian. Lycian?
Is it? Anyways, it's a conspiracy, dude. They're turning y'all against one another for their own gains, man. This is not a problem where you two don't like each other. It's
the Lidocaines. They're coming in.
That's their name, yeah.
And they're bossing you around. They're
That's
bossing
why
around
I
the
feel
elves.
so numb.
Yeah,
It's almost
there's
like
a
you
Linkin
don't
Park
feel
joke.
anything
Come
at
on.
all.
She says, well, I know that we all have our issues with Lacania, but I'm not sure that that's going to be enough. I mean, do you have some sort of proof of conspiracy?
Now let me lay this down for you, boss. So what we got here is we got a big old bad town, city. Shit. This is not going great. I do not have a lot of charisma. We got this big old city, and they're pushing the elves out of the area that the elves are supposed to be, where they've been for, forever or whatever. And now they have nowhere else to be but all up in your business. And now, y'all are fighting each other. Y'all didn't used to fight each other, I bet. But now you are.
Our town was founded after the first great war between Lacanian and elves. On the site of it, I'd say that we pretty much since the beginning.
What we're saying is that y'all and the elves don't. You should be fighting the same battle, which is against this oppressive regime that is not helping you, but is taking your money. And so, we put the past behind us, a little murder between friends, and we take down the government. That's what we're saying. And I think if I can roll well enough, if so to speak, as they say,
as they say,
You will execute a revolution?
yeah, we
All right, okay.
convince them.
Roll
that-
for revolution. Ooh, that's a good roll for revolution.
15. I don't know what
You're
revolution
probably
would
going to
be.
die in the process, but it might work. Right?
I think if revolution's anything, it's performance.
Oh, well, then shit, I got a 20.
Y'all don't actually have.
No, let's go back.
So that's
real quick.
what I'm saying is I think that I think we can convince them that they are focusing on the wrong thing, and that even if it's not a revolution, that you all share a common enemy, and that there can be peace between the proletariat, as they say,
As
And
it
the
were.
bourgeoisie.
as it were.
Roll persuasion for me there, Kenneth.
18.
Nerd.
Yael sits back in her chair and her eyes look down for a second. She says, "It's a very, very ambitious plan."
There's just a lot of room in this forest. There ain't no reason that y'all gotta be all up in each other's faces, getting mad, killing each other. I mean, honestly, that's the mistake here. You don't actually have any reason to be fighting. Y'all are like siblings who are stuck in the back of a cart and on a long car ride, and really you should just draw a line down the center of the bench and then everybody be square.
Leroy says, "I wish more of our people would have seen it that way. There was, as soon as most of the men got back that you sent back, there was a debate and the town became divided, and a lot of people left for Lacania to seek refuge, to be taken in as refugees, but the rest of us thought that they won't take care of us because
Yeah, I think
kind
that,
of fuck them."
Yeah, I think that if they're going to they're trying to seek shelter as refugees in Lucania, they're going to get stopped at the border, and even though it's perfectly legal and they're just it's not going to work. So
Yael says, "But either way, there's likely to be a Lacanian army heading this way."
Cool. That's cool. Here's what I'm saying. Now would be a really good time for us to all join forces because
there are a lot of elves.
yeah.
There are.
That's my argument.
She says,
Definitely seen a lot of elves.
we agree completely. That's why we stayed, but it's a matter of convincing the elves.
Yeah.
What's your...
Now, all right, here's the thing. Let me put it to you this way. I ain't no big city lawyer.
This joke will literally never get old.
Wow.
It hurts so good.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
She looks at you and says, was there more?
No, that would do the trick. Listen, they only get one channel over at the La Quinta. It's been all night.
Here's what I think. I think that, listen, I grew up with elves. I've known so many elves. Honestly, it's ridiculous that I don't even know Elvish.
Yeah, I mean, I have an elf friend.
I
You ever met Legolas?
I grew up around them. And while a lot of people think elves are barbaric and terrible, they're actually pretty wise.
And
they
barbaric.
recognize that while the bloodshed between the two of you is obviously not killer, you guys may not be like best buds forever or whatever.
Lol killer.
But clearly the threat to their existence and way of life is not you. It's the
Lupercalians.
the Luddites,
The Luddites.
the losers up
The
there.
Losers Club.
Them, and so like that's cool. They're gonna get it, man. Like,
But be that as it may, what is their incentive to spare us? Just these simple...
you're gonna help them fight?
Well, I think that, I mean,
We are no army.
I think that on one hand, you know, you're comrades of the revolution. And on the other hand, too, they have no reason to not spare you.
Brokering peace is a step to
Towards
a better future
peace.
of peaceful.
2020.
Listen,
We can
Vote.
only pray that they see it that way. If this is your plan to convince them, I'm going to pray very hard.
well, did you have any? You
Yeah, well, roll for prayer or whatever you're Lilith.
yeah.
No,
Also,
you leave that to God.
Belial. What is this?
Yael.
Yael, by the way, like, what was your plan? Did you have a plan? You're shitting on ours a little bit. I just want to know what your thoughts were. How are you gonna get spared? Because I'm like trying to survive today. You know what I'm
They're
saying?
here because of what happened at the bridge and the loss of their people that we weren't there for. That's
But they were killing your people. Like, I mean, everybody's killing everybody up in here. And frankly,
And it's honestly
And
the
you know
dragon's fault.
You know whose fault? Yeah, it's
it's
the dragon's fault.
It's killing
And
in
we're
the name
gonna
of.
convince them it's the dragon's fault.
Yeah,
the dragon's fault.
The elves.
We all have to unite to face our actual enemy,
The elves
the
that-
dragon.
The elves
Killing
that we
in the name
killed, the elves that we killed,
Let's actually sleep down in the fire.
we have active proof that the elves that we killed were taking bodies to be Z-worded in a cave for a dragon. I mean, if that's not worthy of discussion, if that doesn't make them see things differently, the elves are a very noble people, and they will be horrified at this act against nature.
Yeah, they were. I mean, this
are
incel
not-
had his elbows deep in a stinky dead thing, and it was gross.
Yeah, these elves that we killed were not.
Also, the guy that was
not
hiring
elves.
these elves, hated elves, talked a lot of shit, wrote it down.
We had that book.
We got the book.
We stole that.
Yeah. Leroy says, yes, it's great that you have the book. I really hope that that's enough. And Yael says, and I have to ask, what news of Philip? Stephen, please, you have to tell me. Did he come back with you? I heard that Oki and Eagle Scout had returned.
Philip, he fought bravely. I'm gonna feign like a tear.
Roll performance
Yep,
to,
doing it.
for sympathy.
Okay.
You have none.
Performance. That's gonna be a 4.
Okay, I would like you to roleplay this for me like a 4
Can you just
then.
like
Okay.
lick your finger and like drag it down your cheek?
So before
putting the
Steven starts
fucking,
talking, he
thermometer
like
on the-
pokes himself in the eye, but he's not.
Fucking light bulb.
But he's not subtle about it. So like everyone just sees him like poking himself in the eye, trying to get him to water. Philip
He just pokes himself in the eye.
fought bravely. But he died.
Your bedside mannerism.
Way to break it easy.
Steven's been over here like drawing hammers in the dirt with his toe because he doesn't have his hammer and he's sad about that. He's not been paying a lot of attention.
I like to think that he's literally leaning down and drawing it with his finger.
I like to think that he just has a toe.
Yeah, just the one. It's a pterodactylian trait. Most males are born with just one unified toe.
You have toe. Yeah. All right, cool.
It's the same width.
Canon, 100%.
It's the same width as a whole set of toes.
Yeah.
But it's just like
one.
one little flipper at the end.
Have like a single toenail.
One big wide nail. Oh. How do you cut
So you
that?
have like a toe file,
Well,
right?
most of us use like sheep shears kind of thing. They like to scissor it.
I mean, it's better one
we
large
use it- we
toe
use-
with one large toenail than one large toe with multiple toenails. It is significantly.
why have five when you
It's
can have
actually
one?
a popular pastime in pterodactyl to use the toenail clippings, which are about 4 inches long in our daily arts and crafts.
No, because if you cut them in the end, you can like use them for like
Yeah.
spoons.
You
and
suddenly-
forks. You can-
You can sharpen them and make a knife.
Ulrich, you
Oh,
suddenly
great.
remember back to the feast and like the serving
love the
dishes that all the
silverware.
food were in were all actually weaved together giant toenails.
roll Constitution.
I vomit everywhere. I'm not.
So Steven's
You ever
like
had toe pie?
really doing a shitty job of like being sincere and
Here, I'm gonna try
empathetic.
to
and then
save this.
instantly, Ulrich just vomits.
And he died.
Honestly, that might help our case a little bit with her for
Can I try to
sympathy.
save
Like,
this?
I'm so emotional that I threw up about it.
We are so far beyond saving.
The toenail thing happened in a vacuum. That scene was canon, but it happened back at the hotel or something.
No, we didn't.
That's the second hotel that this party has left vomit in.
That scene might have happened, but it just hits Ulrich right then. It all comes in for no reason.
I'll take that.
Yeah, no,
It
I
all
actively-
catches up to Ulrich.
It just caught up. Yeah, I mean, I may have been sick about it before, but you know how your mind wanders in moments. That's what happened.
She glanced at him like dragging his toe
Yael.
through the sand, and you're like, ah.
Yael does not even take any notice or make acknowledgement of your sudden and unprovoked puking at the news of the death of her son that you already knew about. Her eyes just kind of sink a little bit, and
Like
you
physically?
see they get deeper in the sockets, and
It's so gross.
you see the
Intimidating.
It makes the fucking gack sound.
If somebody's eyes sunk back into their head while they're talking, I'm gonna listen to what they're fucking telling me. I'm telling you.
You see the tears well up in her eyes, and she leans forward on the table and folds her hands together, and she says, "Please tell me, did he die by elven hands?"
Let me try to save this. What do you want me to roll for being cool? What is bedside manner?
He died
yeah,
with the skeleton.
Yeah, it was a skeleton man, but I'm gonna.
It's Thorn's fault. Or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, no, hold on.
Cannon wants to try to explain it in a particular way, though.
Yeah, I don't care if it's even a lie. I just want to make it sound really epic.
Well, roll whatever you think is most appropriate for what you're trying to do, and tell
guess
me
it's-
which one it is. Is it going to be
I
performance,
guess
persuasion?
It's not persuasion. It's probably performance.
It's
I mean, even though I'm better at
If you're going to be
persuasion,
untruthful, it has to be deception.
I'm not going to be specifically untruthful. I just might bolster it a bit.
This sounds like performance to me.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a good roll.
It's a 24.
Okay, so what do you say?
So I'm gonna say Miss Lynott was killed by reanimated dead by
Skelly-mans, dude.
Skeletons, yeah, by an evil necromancer that he specifically heroically helped stop. This could have been not just the end of this town, but the end of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of life. He was gaining power and he was reanimating the dead, and your son fought against it, and unrelated to the only reason the elves are related to that is because the elves were hired. They didn't even know this.
These are defector elves too.
Yeah,
yes.
defector
These are not
elves were
of the tribe.
hired to gather the bodies, but they didn't even know what it was for, and
So
he stopped what could have been one of the most dangerous villains of all time.
you're
that we
saying
never know.
that
Your son is
The-
the hero.
the-
Just line it.
dead were come back to life?
It was some very evil magic.
She looks deeply disturbed.
Yeah.
It was very disturbing.
I mean, I got down with that sickness too. I definitely fought, and just so you know, the necromancer was human. That matters to you, not elven. See, we all got goods and bads.
She says, yes, it does. We have to make peace with the elves. We need their help. It's the only chance left. Howdy do, folks. It's your DM Eric here. Thank you, as always, for listening to episode 14, the penultimate episode of Chapter 1 of SideQuest. We've already got some really ridiculous stuff in store for Chapter 2, including some exciting special guests, all new themes, characters, adventures, and I might even let the party get to level 4. Y'all, if you like the show, please do us a big favor. Get on Facebook, get on iTunes, leave us reviews. They really help more people find the show so they can be as uncomfortably and embarrassingly entertained as you yourself are right this very moment. And of course, follow us on social media at SideQuestFTR. Give us all the likes and shares and tell your fucking friends. We really appreciate you helping spread the good word. It would mean a lot to see our audience grow as we head into Chapter 2, but not as much as it means that you've stuck with us all the way through Chapter 1. Now you'll be able to say that you were there when Mediocre Podcast got its mediocre start. So without any more mediocre ado, here's the mediocre continuation of episode 14 of SideQuest. The tent flaps open, and there's no not ridiculous way to say that.
No.
The flaps
Does
flap
it make
open.
the gack sound?
Obviously. And you all are led out of the tent. So you're led into the hall, where up at the head of the dais sits the chief.
What's the weather like? Is it humid?
Rainy.
On the dais,
So
on
it's
the
pretty
dais.
moist?
On the
Cool
dais,
and moist.
On the dais, on the dais.
Cool and moist.
On
That's-
the
that's-
dais.
You
Job
can
on the
work with that.
dais.
Yeah.
It's cool on the dais.
It's stone, so it's probably a little cooler on the dais.
Oh.
So there at the top of the
Flapping
dais
pincher.
is the chief, who you met and seemed rather amicable before.
Nice guy.
And you remember that he just recently became chief after the death of his father just weeks ago.
This is green.
Yeah, he's young and seems headstrong, eager to prove
He'll
himself.
take
But
you
he
on.
was,
He'll
but
take
he,
on anyone.
Yeah.
but he was willing to listen to you. And then there is his mother, Lenara, who seemed a lot less inclined
Lenovo.
to listen to you.
Yeah, she wasn't cool.
Minerva.
Lenovo.
Let's fight about it.
Kenovo.
Deal.
As well as a number of... It's kind of difficult for the rest of you, except for Canon, to delineate the ages.
Oh, are you saying they all look the same?
They kind of all look the same a little bit. But Canon, you can tell that these other elves seated up there are certainly elders.
Okay.
And then there is a pair of younger elves who look completely identical. They'd have to be twins who are sitting down at the end.
They're twinning?
Twinning. Yeah, they're twinning.
Cool.
All right. as you enter the hall and get about halfway to the dais, you're stopped by several guards who bind your hands in front of you.
Oh, dude.
And then you are allowed to approach the rest of the way. This seems like some sort of ritual formality more than a practical measure. Your hands don't feel particularly...
I'm going to
heightened,
object to this and say, as this party's legal counsel, I need wild gesticulating motions with my hands to make my points clear.
The guards ignore you entirely. And then you're
I'm
led...
going to sulk.
Roll for sulking.
I sulked very well, thank you.
What'd you get?
14.
Okay,
I don't know
now
what
that's it. I mean, you got to tell me what your
That was a
results. I've got
quality
a sulking DC ready to go.
Okay.
Don't think that I'm unprepared back here. That was a successful sulk,
Yeah,
by the way.
thanks.
It was DC 11 for this
If
particular
it
sulk,
wasn't successful, I would have personally sulked. I don't have to roll for that.
You can't make me.
Yeah. As you're led up the rest of the way, Yael and Bad Leroy Brown, the baddest man in the whole damn town of Pterodactyl, are sort of led off to the side, and you can see some of the other former council members of Pterodactyl off in the wings as well. You see Okie Shards and Eagle Scout.
I'm gonna give him a little like you know, like one of those
Like some finger guns?
like not like a finger gun though, more like a point, but like not like I'm pointing you out, but like I see you. You know, like
Yeah.
if I was like
A point with
if I
like a
was
chin
like a, if I was
nod.
if I was like a football
You
man
break
going out
break
to
your
do
sulk for
football.
a quick bro-ish acknowledgement.
Yeah, like if I was going out to play a football,
But you have to
and-
lift up
and-
both of your
and I gotta
hands.
get both my hands up, but it's gonna be more. It's gonna get dab almost with that, but I'm gonna like, give him a finger.
Candid dabs on the way to the on the way to the stand. It is true.
It's in character, honestly. That fits.
Oh. All right, and you're led up the rest of the way, and now it's just the four of you standing in a line, facing about 20 feet away from the long table and the elders and the chief. And the chief stands up and says, "You all have been chosen to represent the village of Pterodactyl
Whoops.
as we find justice.
Oh God.
Do you
man.
agree to this responsibility?"
Yeah.
Is there an in between option?
Ay, caramba.
Most certainly not.
Yeah. Damn straight. LV.
And what of you, the large one in the red?
Yes.
Okay. The chief sits down, and Lenara comes out from behind the table. She says, "Several of our brethren were killed in the woods north of this village. What do you know about that?"
Oh, I know lots about that.
"Well, I want to hear about it from the little one." And she looks at Mandark.
God.
Oh man. Excuse me, can I call you Len?
It is not your turn to speak.
I don't have any answers.
So you weren't there in the clearing north of this forest when our elven
doesn't-
brethren were killed.
He doesn't remember things. Super great.
I'm talking to him.
Man, this is bad.
Oh yeah, I was there.
And they sure put.
Yeah, I was there. I definitely was there. Yes.
So please tell me what happened. How did our brethren come to meet this most unnatural fate?
It was after those hooded figures got
I'm
away,
talking
remember?
to him.
I'm just helping him know where we are in time. He's not.
I'm gonna loudly go and like make like Xing throat
Right.
slashy motion.
Yeah. Remember the hooded figures
No,
got away?
that didn't. Wait.
Oh, they did, didn't they? Mm.
Oh God, you guys are gonna make up a horrible lie. I'm gonna have to try to fix that.
Isn't that what we told them last time?
Oh, it doesn't matter. We're so fucked. Everyone's going to die. That's what's going to happen.
So what happened?
So I don't remember exactly what happened.
So you remember that you were there, and you don't remember what happened. You don't know how our brethren came to their unnatural, very, very early ends. All right. And just so you all know, I have like sliding scales of everybody who is important in this room's opinions of you all and the village. So when you see me making notes, that means the scales are moving one way or the other.
Oh man,
I
Lady
genuinely,
Justice cringes.
I genuinely have no idea in which direction the scale is moving after that thrilling testimony.
I don't know.
It was the glove
very-
doesn't fit. You know what I'm saying?
She turns to Stephen and says,
It is the least indictment you can provide.
And what of you? Were you present when our brethren were
Presents?
No, I wasn't.
killed? Well, okay. And
Oh, all right then.
she turns to Cannon and says, "And you? Do you know what happened in that clearing?"
I do know what happened in that clearing. Your honor.
Dum dum.
That was not in character. Actually, maybe it was. Maybe we both did.
You don't have your guitar, otherwise I'd just be expecting Cannon to be playing.
I was there. Yes.
And what happened?
What happened was we were asked to figure out what was happening to the townspeople that were disappearing, the bridge builders and the masons and such.
Hold on just a second. I should have talked about this earlier. So for the trial, if anybody wants to roll performance, deception, persuasion, any of those things, if you want to give me your spiel and then roll, if you give me a good spiel, I might give you advantage or disadvantage.
Yeah, I was
going
going to do spiel first, but you tell me.
But if you want to just go ahead and roll and then try and accurately role play a reflection of the quality of your roll, there's inspiration in it for you.
I'm going to tell the actual truth, so I don't really know.
There's still persuasion.
Persuasion. I mean, I can go ahead and roll persuasion now. 24.
Okay. Now give me your
Nasty.
persuasion.
Yeah, that's all I'm
pretty
good
sick.
for is persuasion and deception.
Are you a plus?
+7 on both of those, yeah.
Pretty cool, man.
So I'm going to tell the truth. The truth of the matter is we were asked to check out what was happening to the masons and the bridge builders and such that were disappearing. And some elves were hired. What we determined was some elves were hired by a human necromancer who was living in a cave. It smelled terrible and had a few acolytes who are, I believe, in your custody, possession, or maybe one of them is. I don't know who's alive still. But the acolytes who, honestly, the one, the cryy one, you know, the one that cries a lot, I think he's all right. He's just really misguided. But yeah, we found out that these elves are being hired to kill the workers of Pterodactyl and use their body to reanimate the dead.
The elders all kind of murmur amongst themselves.
And we felt threatened, and so we had an altercation with those elves, and they all died, and some of our and some of our folks died too. People of Pterodactyl were killed, and people.
Go ahead and take your inspiration for that. We felt threatened, and they all died.
But no, I mean, if we had known the full size and scope of what was happening in terms of the political climate and in terms of what was actually, like, if we had known at the time, I mean, the necromancer hated fucking elves.
I wish that I knew what I know now when I was younger.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think it was an unfortunate battle that could have been avoided, but that's where it's at. That's what happened.
She says, "I've read this journal that you've provided as proof of these claims, and I find it all to be terribly unlikely. I mean, reanimating the dead. That's a little far-fetched, don't you think?"
What do you know of magic?
She kind of giggles and says, more than any half-blood might ever hope to.
You don't have to take our word for it or just the journal.
hey, Cannon.
You can just go to the cave.
Why do you only
Do you
have
want to
half
go to
your
the
blood?
cave and check it out?
I mean,
There are still living dead in the cave.
There are
I think we
skeletons.
I think we redeaded all those.
There was half the cave we never went to.
Point.
There might be a dragon.
You can.
There
you
was
can-
also talk of a dragon.
my dude. Like seriously,
My
Lynn,
dudes.
It's
Lenny.
Wednesday.
I'm
man.
gonna address them as my dudes in Elvish, which is a traditional Elvish.
as is tradition.
Yeah,
Yes.
my dudes.
Definitely just consider. You can go. You can see the altar, dude. When we got there, he was like elbows deep in some corpse doing stuff. And we,
I think he had
we
half
only
chub,
got
too.
there after, probably, and we only got there after killing some already dead things, including Skellymans. These are not just smelly people, these are dead smelly people. I mean, for sure, you got all the proof you need if you just go there and look.
Believe me when I say that our warriors are outcombing the entire area
I mean, we can tell them exactly
for
where it is.
necromancers or cowardly
Spooky cave,
villagers.
Backdoor spooky cave. It's real easy. I could have put a sign on it, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's North Hole in the ground. Everyone
Yeah.
knows North Hole in the ground.
Yeah.
She turns to Ulrich and says, "And what of you? Were you
We
there at the clearing?"
Yeah, like he said, it was scary. You know, people were shouting, I don't know, a web.
Different.
Different clearing.
Wait, where are we talking about right now? Are we talking, where are we, what? Oh, like with the bridge?
The clearing where our brethren were killed.
At the bridge? Are we talking about the bridge right now,
What are
you
we
guys?
talking about
Where
right
we
now?
built the, where the people were trying to build the bridge?
It's not at the bridge. It's outside of. You don't remember.
It's been a really stressful week.
It is not your turn. Half-blood.
Ooh.
Be nice.
That is,
I rolled an 18 on persuasion.
Her demeanor towards you no, it doesn't. It doesn't at
Her
all.
voice
She does
didn't
not
crack.
like you one little bit.
I don't care.
so look,
She's
here's,
named after a second-rate VCR.
Ouch.
so here's
Hey,
the,
look, can I see your character sheet real quick?
here's the thing,
I just had an idea. I want to see if it works.
the whole thing. Okay, so we were sent here to, like you said, you know, figure out how there's a, you know, all these people are dying and it's like a big bummer, and it was super confusing because normally elves don't just go killing people for nothing.
You wanna roll your persuasion.
Yeah. 15. Oh, that's really good for me.
Golf clap.
So, you know, that's clearly not a thing elves normally do. I grew up with elves. I know that's not normal. So we're here, and lo and behold, a bunch of elves attack these dudes that we're supposed to be protecting, and so they all die, and it's a super big bummer, and all the villagers died except for Bad Leroy Brown. I believe you've met him. He's the baddest man in the whole damn town of Pterodactyl. And then we decided to figure out, follow their trail, and then we went, and there was a cave. We found the cave, and then these skeletons they kill a bunch of dudes, and that was a super bummer. I mean, like, these are like little kids, man. I was not stoked on it. Anyways, we kill all the Skellymans, and then there's like some like cheesy dead dudes. We kill them. And then there's some smelly, weird teenager who just is really into him, and I'm like, that band sucks. And you know, and then we get him dead. I mean, it was a whole thing, dude. I don't know. Like, it was not a good time. None of us were stoked. You know, so does that answer? Did I answer your question?
She turns to the two young-looking, the identical-looking elves at the end of the table, and says, "Zara, Lys, you were our rangers that came upon the remains of our brethren, were you not?" And they both, in unison, agree in Elven. And she says, "Did you see any proof that our brethren had been hired and corrupted by some ridiculous human who claims to be able to animate the dead. And they give what would appear to be a negative response to that in Elven. Lenara turns to her son, the chief, and says, "Would you trust the word of your own blood over the word of these creatures?" And she goes back and sits down.
I want to talk to the chief.
So Lenara goes back behind the table to her seat and turns and addresses the chief and says, "Now that we have heard from them and their defense of their actions at the clearing, I must bring forth the charge that the village known as Pterodactyl should be wiped from the face of this hill. That every memory of the humans that have infested this place for the last 200 years be wiped out, and that we retake our rightful territory, and finally ending the lives of the villagers who remained, brave though they may have been, and sending their heads to the Lacanian king will send an important message that will finally bring this shit to a head and get us what we want."
That was in character.
Nice.
I would like
we have a better idea of something to send the Lacanian king.
A guard whaps you upside the back of the head and tells you to be quiet.
I don't like that.
roll the sulk.
I'm gonna roll the salt.
Okay, just roll potato, man.
I failed salt.
She says, "And for the last 200 years, we've let the Lacanians push further and further into our territory, kill our people, murder children, take our women. It cannot happen any longer. We must bring an end to it, and it must start here." She sits down, and the chief stands up and faces you all and says, "And what do you all say in defense of the village of Pterodactyl?"
I'm going to raise both my hands, like a dab again, but more of a hello, like me time,
A greeting dab.
Yeah.
You know, the specific type of dab.
a grab.
Wow.
Mr. Chief,
Mr. Chief.
Mr. Chief.
Isn't that
I called
red
somebody-
versus blue?
What are you rolling?
I called somebody Mr. Sir on the
18
phone
for
the other day.
persuasion.
Persuasion 18.
I'm
Okay.
going to use that inspiration I just got to see if I can do better.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
Roll again with advantage.
Yeah. I might be able to do better than that. Natural 20, so 27 with a natural 20.
God
Both
damn.
All right, so we'll take that.
Okay.
Not
Now
funny.
let's hear you give that speech.
Your mom seems to be familiar with.
Your mom. The end.
I rest my case.
28. Defense
Your
rests.
That's all Zach.
Dude, if you rolled a nat 20 and you're like, your mama.
No, I'm gonna stand up till I stand and go, I declare bankruptcy. No, I'm gonna say, your mom seems to know a lot about magic, which means she probably knows a little bit about observational comedy. So I'm gonna throw you this. You ever heard the term punch up? In comedy, you're supposed to punch up. Punching down is lame. It's really easy to make fun of people and to attack people that are lower than you, that are also disadvantaged as you are. And what you should do if you want to do comedy right is to punch up. You got to punch up towards the people that are oppressing you. You got to punch up to the people that are being shitty. You got to punch up to the people that pay $25,000 to go to a festival on an island. You know, here's what I'm saying.
And you hear the elders murmur, "Oh yeah, island festivals are really douchey." That's
Yeah,
funny,
douchey as hell. And
Very.
We don't-
I'm nodding along with them.
ladies and gentlemen of the audience, are we douches?
No.
Or are we elves and people, etc.?
That one.
Which is the best store, the best store in Pterodactyl.
Definitely that one.
Elves and people, etc.
One of the twins says, "Elves and people."
Elves and humans, I think, is what you meant, right? When you said people.
That's what I meant. Yes, I meant that. I'm going to say in Elvish, listen, I'm trying to throw him a bone. And what I am saying to you is, what good does it do to level the town of Pterodactyl. These people are brave. You just admitted it. That's more people to fight against the Lacanian bullshit that we've been dealing with. There is plenty of room for everyone to live
Lenara
here.
scoffs and says, they are Lacanian.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. They're also
No, we're not.
oppressed by the Lacanians.
They're in the same- they're in the same boat
there are
as
humans
you.
in the audience, right? Because I know you said like Oki Shard was there.
Yeah, in the wings, yeah.
I'm gonna be like,
Just a few.
show of hands. Who feels like, because everyone that stayed behind, I'm letting you all remember this, are the super anti-Lacanian people. Who here feels like a Lacanian? Show of hands.
And you hear some boos and a couple people like spit on the floor.
These are people that can fight with us. There's plenty of room for everyone. You should have your land back. And this infighting and the loss of lives that's happened already shouldn't have happened. And you know what? Call me Alex Jones, but that is a conspiracy by the Lacanians to keep us subjugated, is fighting each other. We can band
Weakening
together,
ourselves.
and as we go, we can gather more supporters, and we can take down the whole fucking government. Natural 20, bitches.
I fucking.
Single tear rolls down Steven's cheek.
The villagers are like stomping their feet and applauding as best they can with their hands tied and hooting and hollering.
Yeah.
And the chief spreads his hands out and yells real loud, quiet, quiet, order, order, and he bangs his fist on the table. And so concludes the penultimate episode of Chapter 1 of Side Quest. Penultimate. Like that, sort of a woody word. Penultimate. Thank you again so very much for listening. A very extra sloppy, super special thanks to our Patreon supporters, especially our top tier members, Arden and Patricia. If you'd like your own personal shout out at the end of every episode, or just to support us directly so I'm not trying to squeeze these episodes out when I need to be leaving for work, you too can share with us some of your hard-earned cash at patreon.com/sidequestftr. And before I let you go this week, y'all, I want to make one special announcement. The band that, we are, the Ford Theater Reunion, hasn't been playing a whole lot of shows so far this year, and we're kind of taking the year a little easy, but we just booked a very exciting show. It's going to be April 10th at the Southgate House Revival in Newport, Kentucky, with our very, very dear, intimate friends, Carrie Nation and the Speakeasy. Also happens to be 2 days before my birthday, so it is sure to be an absolutely splendiferous throwdown that you should not miss out on. That is April 10th at the Southgate House Revival in Newport, Kentucky. It's going to be a great show. Hope to see you all there. But in the meantime, stay tuned, because we'll be back in 2 weeks with the last episode of Chapter 1 of Side Quest.
Please let that be Mandark's voice. We found it. We found it, you guys.
Yes.
All right, sure,
High five.
fine. All right.
So when you say anything is Mandark.
Mandark.
Mandark as low as I can talk.
That's it.
And tiny.
Oh, please.
Yeah, I love that.
It's just fucking like Isaac Hayes voicing this animated character.
So it's like today Mandark hit puberty, so instead of being like, oh my god, you guys, it's like, oh my god, you guys.
Luke, it's really disconcerting to see your face make that voice. All right, what were we doing?
Sorry, guys, I hit gnome puberty.